Gunshots exploded through the darkness. Chukwudi Okonkwo's hands trembled as he pressed against the rusted warehouse wall, his $1,000 suit torn and covered in dirt. Through a broken window, he could see her, Ngozi, his wife, bound to a chair in the center of the room, blood trickling from her temple. 3 armed men circled her like vultures. "Where is the evidence?" one of them roared, striking her across the face. Chukwidi's heart shattered. He moved to rush in, but a strong hand clamped over his mouth. Amora, his maid now dressed in tactical gear, pressed a gun into his palm. "On my signal," she whispered, her voice cold and professional, nothing like the shy woman who'd served him tea for 3 years. "Who are you?" Chukwudi gasped. "Someone trying to save your wife. And you." Another gunshot rang out. "Now." They burst through the door into chaos. Hello, welcome to African Tales by Natasha. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I dropped another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survive? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever? The Lagos traffic was its usual nightmare, but Chukwudi Okonkwo barely noticed. His black Mercedes S-Class glided through Victoria Island as his mind wandered back to the Johannesburg conference. 3 days of meetings with South African investors had ended early when the deal fell through. Something felt wrong about it. Too many last-minute cancellations, too many nervous glances. He loosened his tie as his driver, Taiwo, navigated toward his penthouse. The evening sun painted the Lagos skyline in shades of orange and gold, the Atlantic Ocean sparkling in the distance. After building Afri-Tech Solutions from nothing into a billion-dollar empire, he'd earned this view. But success had come with a price he was only beginning to understand. "Sir, we're here," Taiwo announced, pulling up to the luxury high-rise. Chukwudi grabbed his briefcase and headed inside. The lobby attendant looked startled to see him. "Mr. Okonkwo, we didn't expect you until Friday." "Change of plans," Chukwudi said, forcing a smile. Why did everyone seem so nervous? The private elevator climbed to the penthouse. He stepped into his foyer and immediately sensed something wrong. The air felt different. Heavy. The usual scent of Ngozi's jasmine perfume was replaced by something else, a cologne he didn't recognize. Masculine. Expensive. "Ngozi," he called out. Silence. He moved through the living room. The furniture had been shifted slightly. Pictures on the wall hung at different angles. His wife's jewelry box sat open on the coffee table, pearls and diamonds scattered across the glass surface like someone had been searching through them frantically. His pulse quickened. "Ngozi, are you home?" Nothing. He walked toward their bedroom, each step heavier than the last. The door was ajar. He pushed it open slowly. The bed was made perfectly. Too perfectly. Ngozi never made the bed this precisely. She always left the pillows slightly askew, said it looked more lived in. Then he saw it. On her pillow. A single black feather and a folded piece of paper. His hands shook as he reached for the note. But before his fingers touched it, a soft voice came from behind him. "Don't." He spun around. Amora stood in the doorway, her usual shy demeanor gone. Her eyes were hard, alert, scanning the room like a soldier in enemy territory. "Amara? What's going on? Where's my wife?" She raised a finger to her lips and whispered urgently, "Don't talk. They're listening." Chukwidi's blood turned to ice. "What? Who's listening? What are you?" Amara moved swiftly, pulling him away from the bedroom. She led him to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, and turned on the blender at full speed. Under the noise, she leaned close and whispered in his ear. "There are cameras everywhere. Hidden microphones. They've been watching this house for 2 weeks." Her voice was steady, professional, nothing like the timid housemaid who'd worked for him for 3 years. "Your wife is missing, Mr. Okonkwo. And if we don't move carefully, you'll be next." "Missing? What do you mean missing?" "I spoke to her 2 days ago." "That wasn't her." Amora's eyes locked with his. That was a recording. They've been playing pre-recorded messages to keep you from worrying. Chikwudi felt the room spinning. This couldn't be real. This had to be some kind of nightmare. Why didn't you call me? Call the police. Because the police can't help. And because. She pulled out her phone, showing him a photograph. It was Ngozi, tied to a chair, a newspaper in her lap showing yesterday's date. Because they sent this with a message. Keep quiet, act normal, or she dies. Chikwudi grabbed the counter to steady himself. His wife. His Ngozi. The woman he'd built his life with for 15 years. Who are they? He demanded. Amara turned off the blender. In the sudden silence, she said 4 words that changed everything. People you trusted completely. Amara moved through the penthouse like a ghost, checking corners, peering behind curtains. Chikwudi watched in disbelief as this woman, who'd served him breakfast every morning, who'd always kept her eyes down respectfully, now moved with the precision of a trained operative. Sit down, she commanded, pointing to the kitchen table. And listen carefully. We don't have much time. Chikwudi sat, his mind reeling. Start talking. Now. Amara pulled out a small device that looked like a car key fob and pressed a button. A faint high-pitched noise filled the room. White noise generator. It'll mask our conversation from the microphones for about 10 minutes. How do you know about surveillance equipment? Who the hell are you? My real name is Zainab Musa. I'm an agent with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. She pulled out a badge from her pocket. I was embedded here 3 years ago as part of an investigation into Afritech Solutions. Chikwudi felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. An investigation? Into my company? That's impossible. We're clean. Every transaction, every deal. It's all legitimate. Not all of it. Zainab's expression softened slightly. And I don't think you knew about the illegal parts. But someone in your organization has been using Afritech as a front for money laundering, arms deals, and selling your AI technology to some very dangerous people. That's insane. I would know. Would you? She cut him off. When's the last time you personally reviewed every contract? Every offshore account? Every subsidiary transaction? Chikwudi opened his mouth to argue but stopped. His company had grown so large. He'd delegated so much to his executive team. To Emeka, his business partner since university. To his CFO, Adebayo. To his board of directors. Your wife found out, Zainab continued. About 6 months ago, Ngozi contacted my agency. She'd stumbled onto something while reviewing your family's financial statements. Accounts you didn't know about. Transfers you never authorized. Ngozi was investigating me? No. She was investigating the people stealing from you and using your company for criminal activities. She wanted to clear your name before going public. Zainab pulled up a folder on her phone. She's not just your wife, Chikwudi. She's a licensed financial forensic investigator. She's been working cases on the side for years. The floor seemed to drop beneath him. His wife. His partner. A investigator? She never told me. She wanted to protect you. But 2 weeks ago she got too close. They took her to force her to hand over the evidence she'd collected. Zainab's jaw tightened. I was supposed to stop it from getting this far. I failed. Chikwudi stared at this stranger who'd lived in his home. Why didn't she trust me? Why keep secrets? Because she didn't know how deep you were involved. Neither did I. For all we knew, you were the mastermind. Zainab met his eyes. But I've watched you for 3 years. You're not a criminal. You're just a brilliant man who trusted the wrong people. Emeka, Chikwudi whispered. His best friend since their days at the University of Lagos. The man who'd been with him from the beginning, who'd helped write the first lines of code that became Afritech. Among others. But yes, Emeka Odolai is at the center of this. The white noise generator beeped. Time was running out. What do they want? Chukwudi asked. The evidence. Ngozi hid it somewhere even I don't know about. They've been searching this penthouse every day while you were away, but they haven't found it. Now that you're back, they'll escalate. Then let's give them what they want. Trade the evidence for Ngozi. Zainab shook her head. The moment they have that evidence destroyed, both you and Ngozi become liabilities. They'll kill you both. She paused. There's only one way forward. We find the evidence first, we rescue your wife, and we expose everyone before they can silence us. How? If they're watching everything. They're not watching everything. Ngozi was smart. She left me a coded message the day before they took her. Zainab showed him a text message that seemed like random household reminders. She's hidden something in this house. Something they can't find because they don't know where to look. But you might. Chukwudi studied the message, his mind racing. The device beeped again. Final warning. We need to act normal, Zainab said, switching it off. Go to bed. Tomorrow, you go to work like nothing's wrong. And tomorrow night, we start looking. What if they move her? What if they hurt her more? Zainab's expression was grim. Then we'd better work fast. Chukwudi didn't sleep. He lay in his bed, their bed, staring at the ceiling, imagining Ngozi tied up somewhere dark and terrified. Every creak of the building made him jump. Every shadow seemed to hide a camera. His phone buzzed at 3 a.m. A text from Ngozi. Missing you, my love. Hope Joburg was productive. See you Friday. 2 hearts. His stomach turned. It was so perfectly her. The heart emoji, the casual tone. But Zainab was right. Ngozi was somewhere being held captive while these monsters sent fake messages. He texted back. Home early. We need to talk. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Whoever was on the other end was panicking. Finally. Oh, wonderful. But I'm at my sister's in Abuja. Family emergency. Back tomorrow. Lies. Ngozi's sister lived in London. She hadn't been to Abuja in years. Morning came slowly. Chukwudi dressed in his usual navy suit, tied his tie with shaking hands. In the kitchen, Zainab, back in her role as Amara, prepared his breakfast of plantains and eggs, just like always. Good morning, sir, she said softly, eyes downcast. Morning. He played along, acutely aware of the hidden cameras recording his every move. His phone rang. Emeka. My brother. Emeka's voice boomed with false cheer. Heard you're back early. Let's have lunch today. We need to discuss the Singapore expansion. There was no Singapore expansion. Sure, Chukwudi said, keeping his voice neutral. 1 p.m. Perfect. My office. The call ended. Chukwudi looked at Zainab, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. They both knew what this was. Emeka needed to assess how much Chukwudi knew. At Afriteca's gleaming headquarters in Ikoyi, Chukwudi moved through the building like a stranger. Every smile from employees felt fake. Every greeting from executives felt like a potential threat. His own company had become enemy territory. His assistant, Folake, greeted him warmly. Mr. Okonkwo, we didn't expect you until Friday. Finished early, he said, forcing a smile. Any urgent matters? Just the usual. Board meeting on Thursday. Oh, and Mr. Odolai wants to see you at 1. In his office, Chukwudi closed the door and sagged against it. His empire, built on innovation and dreams, now corrupted by people he'd trusted. He opened his laptop and started digging through company files, looking for anything suspicious. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands he didn't recognize. Subsidiaries in countries he'd never approved. Contracts with shell corporations. How had he missed this? At 12:45, he walked to Emeka's office. His former best friend sat behind a massive desk, the Lego skyline sprawling behind him through floor-to-ceiling windows. Chuck. Emeka stood, arms open for their usual embrace. Chukwudi hugged him, feeling like Judas. Good to see you, brother. They sat. Emeka poured whiskey, Macallan 25, always showing off. So, Johannesburg fell through? The investors got cold feet. Shame. But we have other opportunities. Emeka's smile didn't reach his eyes. How's Ngozi? Haven't seen her lately. She's good. At her sister's place. In Abuja. A test. Chukwudi kept his face neutral. London. Abimbala's having some renovations done. You know how she is. Emeka relaxed slightly. Women and their home projects. He leaned back. Listen, I wanted to discuss something sensitive. Some of our overseas partners have been asking questions about our security protocols, internal audits. What kind of questions? Whether we've had any breaches, any suspicious activity. Emeka's eyes were calculating. I assured them everything is locked tight. No leaks. No problems. Right. This was it. The real reason for the meeting. Right, Chukwudi said. Nothing to worry about. Good. Because if there were problems, if someone was poking around where they shouldn't, it would be very bad for business. For everyone involved. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Chukwudi met his eyes. I understand perfectly. After the meeting, he returned to his office and vomited in his private bathroom. His best friend. The man who'd been best man at his wedding. Who'd held his daughter when she was born. That man was threatening him. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. You did well today. Keep performing. Your wife's comfort depends on it. Then a photo. Ngozi, bruised but alive, holding today's newspaper. Chukwidi's vision blurred with tears. That evening, back at the penthouse, Zainab had news. I've been analyzing Ngozi's coded message. I think I know where she hid the evidence. Where? Somewhere you'd never think to look. Somewhere she knew you'd eventually find if something happened to her. Zainab pulled up a photo on her phone. Your daughter's room. Chukwidi's breath caught. Adiz. His 16-year-old daughter, studying at boarding school in Switzerland. Ngozi sent Adiz a package 3 months ago. Said it was childhood memories to keep at school. But it wasn't just photos and trinkets. Zainab showed him a shipping manifest. The package weighed 15 kilograms. Far too heavy for just mementos. So the evidence is in Switzerland? No. I think that was misdirection. The real evidence is still here, hidden in Adiz's room. Disguised as something ordinary. Something the searchers overlooked. They moved to his daughter's bedroom, pink walls covered in photos, a desk cluttered with art supplies, a bookshelf overflowing with novels. What are we looking for? Chukwudi asked. Something that shouldn't be here. Something that doesn't fit. They searched for hours. Under the mattress. Behind picture frames. Inside book spines. Nothing. Then Chukwudi saw it. On Adiz's desk, next to her art supplies, a USB drive disguised as a pink highlighter. He'd bought it for her himself 2 years ago. A cute gift from a tech company expo. This, he whispered, pulling it out. Zainab's eyes widened. Perfect hiding place. Hiding data inside a data storage device marketed as a toy. They plugged it into Chukwidi's laptop. Password protected. Try her birthday, Zainab suggested. He typed. 1507. Access denied. Try your anniversary. Denied. Then it hit him. He typed. 3011. November 30th. The day they'd met. The drive unlocked. Inside were hundreds of files. Bank statements. Transfer records. Email chains. Audio recordings. Video footage. 3 years of evidence meticulously collected. and one video file labeled, "If you're watching this, I'm in trouble." Chikwudi clicked it with trembling hands. Ngozi's face appeared on screen, recorded in their bedroom months ago. Her eyes were tired but determined. "My love," her voice said. "If you're seeing this, then they've taken me. I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you everything. But I need you to know, you're innocent. You've been manipulated by people you trusted. This drive contains proof of everything. Emeka, Adebayo, 3 board members, even Detective Obinwosu from the Lagos police, they're all involved in using Afri-Tech to facilitate criminal activities across West Africa." Tears streamed down Chikwidi's face. "They're selling your AI surveillance technology to dictators, laundering money through fake contracts, arms dealing using your logistics network. And they've made billions." Ngozi wiped her own tears. "I was going to expose them properly, legally. But if you're watching this, something went wrong. Don't trust the police. Don't trust your partners. Trust only Agent Zainab Musa. She's embedded as our maid. She'll help you." The video ended. Chikwudi looked at Zainab. "Now what? Now we get your wife back. And we burn it all down." The USB drive felt like plutonium in Chikwidi's hands. Evidence that could destroy a criminal empire, or get them all killed. "We need to make copies," Zainab said. "Multiple backups in different locations. If they kill us, this evidence still needs to surface." "How?" "They're watching everything." "Not everything." She pulled out her phone. "I have encrypted cloud storage they can't trace. But we need to upload from a clean location. Not here." Chikwidi's mind raced. "My old office. Before Afri-Tech got huge, I had a small workspace in Yoba. I kept it as a retreat. Nobody knows about it. Perfect. Tomorrow night." But Chikwudi couldn't wait. Couldn't sleep another night knowing his wife was suffering. There has to be something on this drive. A clue about where they're holding her. They spent the night analyzing files. Financial transactions led to shell companies. Shell companies led to real estate holdings. Warehouses. Storage facilities. Abandoned buildings across Lagos. "There," Chikwudi pointed to a property listing. "Badagry Coast. Emeka's company bought an old warehouse there 18 months ago. Said it was for future expansion. But we never used it." Zainab pulled up satellite images. Isolated location. One access road. Perfect for holding someone without witnesses. "Could be," she said cautiously. "But we can't just rush in. If we're wrong, we tip them off." "Then how do we confirm?" Zainab thought for a moment. "Ngozi's smart. If she's conscious and aware, she might have left us a signal." She pulled up Ngozi's phone records from before her capture. "Look at this. The day she disappeared, she made 3 calls to her own voicemail. Each one exactly 30 seconds apart. Why would she call her own voicemail?" "She wouldn't. Unless..." Zainab's eyes lit up. "Unless she was leaving her phone's GPS location breadcrumbs. The network tracks every call. Even voicemail calls." She pulled up the location data. All 3 calls pinged from the same cell tower. Near Badagry. Within a kilometer of that warehouse. "It's her," Chikwudi breathed. "She's there." "Maybe. But Badagry's a big area. We need more confirmation before we act." Chikwudi stood abruptly. "Then let's get it. Let's go check this warehouse tonight." "Too risky. They're expecting you to act normal, go to work, wait for Friday when Ngozi comes home. If you disappear tonight, they'll know something's wrong." "I don't care. My wife is." A noise from the hallway cut him off. Both froze. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Coming toward the bedroom. Zainab pulled a gun from her waistband with practiced ease. She positioned herself behind the door, weapon ready. The footsteps stopped. The doorknob turned slowly. The door opened. A man stepped inside, mid-40s, expensive suit, gun in hand. He saw Chikwudi and smiled coldly. Mr. Okonkwo. Couldn't sleep. Chikwudi recognized him. Adebayo's bodyguard. Which meant. The man's eyes flicked to the laptop, still showing files from the USB drive. His expression changed. What are you looking at? Zainab moved like lightning. She struck the man's gun hand, the weapon clattering to the floor. An elbow to his throat. A knee to his gut. The man crumpled, gasping. Within seconds, she had him zip-tied and gagged. They sent a scout, she panted. Which means they're getting impatient. We've got less time than I thought. Chikwidi's phone buzzed. Emeka calling at 2 a.m. Don't answer, Zainab warned. It went to voicemail. 10 seconds later, a text. We need to talk. Now. About some irregularities I've noticed. They know, Chikwudi said. Not everything. Not yet. But they're suspicious. Zainab dragged the unconscious bodyguard into the bathroom. Change of plans. We're leaving. Tonight. What about him? He'll wake up in a few hours. By then, we'll be long gone. She started gathering essentials. Pack light. Cash. Clothes. Nothing traceable. Where are we going? Somewhere they won't think to look. Then we plan the rescue. She pulled out a burner phone. I'm calling in backup. People I trust from the commission. While Zainab made calls, Chikwudi packed a small bag. He grabbed the USB drive, his passport, a photo of Ngozi and Adiz. His hands shook as reality set in. His life, his comfortable, predictable, successful life, was over. Everything he'd built was tainted. But none of that mattered if Ngozi died. Ready? Zainab asked. Ready. They left through the service entrance, the one staff used for deliveries. Zainab had a beat-up Honda waiting 2 blocks away, nothing like Chikwidi's luxury vehicles, invisible on Lagos streets. As they drove through the sleeping city, Chikwudi looked back at his building, wondering if he'd ever return. Where are we going? He asked again. Ikeja. A safe house the commission maintains. It's clean, secured, and off the books. She navigated through empty streets. We'll upload the evidence, contact my superior, and plan the extraction. How long? 24 hours. Maybe less if we move fast. Ngozi might not have 24 hours. Zainab's jaw tightened. I know. Which is why we're going to do something very stupid and very dangerous. She pulled out a second burner phone and dialed a number. Someone answered immediately. It's Zainab. Code red. I need an assault team and surveillance equipment. Target is a warehouse in Badagry. She listened. No, I'm not authorized for this level of operation. Yes, I know the protocols. And yes, I'm willing to lose my badge for this. She hung up. What did they say? Chikwudi asked. That I'm insane and they'll have the equipment ready in 6 hours. She smiled grimly. We raid that warehouse tomorrow night. With or without official sanction. You'd risk your career for this? Zainab glanced at him. Your wife risked her life to expose corruption. You've had your entire world destroyed by people you trusted. The least I can do is risk a job. She paused. Besides, I've been undercover in your home for 3 years. I've eaten your food, celebrated your holidays, listened to you and Ngozi laugh together. You're not just an assignment anymore. You're people I care about. For the first time since this nightmare began, Chikwudi felt something like hope. The safe house was a modest apartment in a nondescript building. But it had reinforced doors, encrypted internet, and enough weapons to equip a small army. Get some sleep, Zainab said. Tomorrow's going to be hell. But Chikwudi couldn't sleep. He opened his laptop and started going through the USB drive more carefully. Financial records. Email chains. But also something else. hidden in a folder labeled Personal Photos, Actual Photos, Surveillance Images, Emeka meeting with known arms dealers, Adebayo accepting briefcases of cash, board members at private meetings with warlords from Boko Haram territories, and Detective Obi Nwosu, the Lagos police investigator who was supposed to be fighting corruption, right in the middle of it all. One photo made his blood run cold. It showed Ngozi, clearly unaware she was being photographed, entering a government building. The timestamp was 3 months ago. They'd been watching her for months, waiting for the right moment to strike. He found a video file titled Emeka_planning_session. He played it. His former best friend's voice filled the room. The wife knows too much. And she's got evidence. We need to grab her, find what she's hidden, and eliminate both problems. Make it look like an accident. Carbon monoxide. House fire. Something clean. Another voice, Adebayo. What about Chukwudi? Emeka's response chilled him. Chukwudi's useful for now. Once we extract the evidence and tie up loose ends, he'll have an accident too. Tragic. But these things happen. They'd planned to kill him. His best friend of 25 years had casually discussed murdering him. Chukwudi closed the laptop and wept. At dawn, Zainab found him still awake, red-eyed and hollow. You found something, she said softly. He showed her the video. She watched in silence, her expression darkening. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't help. But I'm sorry. How do people become this? Chukwudi asked. We started Afritech with nothing but dreams and lines of code. We were going to change Africa. Bring technology to communities that needed it. Create jobs. Build something meaningful. He laughed bitterly. Instead, we built a criminal empire. You built a legitimate company. They corrupted it. Don't confuse their sins with yours. But I was blind. I trusted. I didn't ask questions. That's called being human. Not criminal. Zainab sat beside him. The question now is what you do next. You can hide, save yourself, live off your remaining wealth in some country without extradition. Or you can fight back. Save your wife. Expose the truth. Reclaim your company and your integrity. Chukwudi looked at her. Is there really a choice? There's always a choice. But I'm glad you're making the right one. A knock at the door. Zainab moved to her weapon, checked the peephole, relaxed. She opened it to reveal 2 men in tactical gear, carrying equipment cases. Commandant Zainab, one said formally. Your equipment as requested. Plus some toys that aren't technically approved but seemed relevant to the situation. Thank you, Sergeant. They unloaded night vision goggles, body armor, communications equipment, and enough firepower to invade a small country. The drone is in the van, the sergeant continued. Thermal imaging, infrared, live feed. We can scout your warehouse from a kilometer away. Perfect. Meet me in Baidagri at sunset. Coordinates will follow. After they left, Zainab turned to Chukwudi. Now we plan. And tonight, we get your wife back. The day crawled by like torture. Chukwudi paced the safe house while Zainab coordinated logistics, pulling in favors from colleagues, assembling resources for the raid. His phone kept buzzing with messages from Emeka, his office, business associates. Each one felt like a noose tightening. Emeka. Brother, where are you? You missed our morning meeting. Then. Getting worried. Call me. Then. Security said you didn't come home last night. Everything okay? The fake concern made Chukwudi sick. Around noon, Zainab's phone rang. Her expression shifted from focused to alarmed. Say that again, she demanded. She listened, then cursed in Hausa. When? How long ago? She hung up and turned to Chukwudi, face pale. There's been a development. Another captive was just brought to the Baidagri warehouse. She pulled up a message on her phone showing a grainy photograph. Do you know this man? Chikwudi's heart stopped. That's Jide, my head of IT security. What's he doing there? According to my source, he was grabbed this morning from his apartment. No witnesses. Zainab's mind was racing. Why would they take your IT chief? Understanding dawned on Chikwudi. The evidence. They know someone accessed internal systems. They think it was Jide doing the investigating. So they grabbed him to find out what he knows and to send you a message. We have to move now. Tonight might be too late. If we go now in daylight, we'll be spotted before we get within 500 meters. We stick to the plan. Sunset. We go in clean and tactical. Zainab gripped his shoulder. I know it's hard, but patience saves lives in situations like this. Chikwudi wanted to scream. Instead, he forced himself to breathe, to think. Walk me through the evidence again, he said. All of it. I want to understand exactly what Ngozi found. They spent the afternoon deep diving into the USB drive. The scope of the conspiracy was staggering. Emeka had started small 5 years ago, skimming off contracts, inflating costs, pocketing the difference. But he'd gotten greedy. He began using Afriteca's AI surveillance technology as a product for sale to the highest bidder. Dictators in 3 West African countries bought systems to monitor dissidents. Emeka had sold them the exact same facial recognition software that Chikwudi had designed to help find missing children. The arms dealing came next. Using Afriteca's logistics network, meant for delivering technology to remote communities, to move weapons. The money laundering followed naturally. Millions flowing through shell companies, bouncing between accounts, emerging clean. Here's the beautiful irony, Zainab said darkly. They used your company's legitimate success as a shield. Every time authorities got curious, they'd point to Afriteca's public work, the schools you built, the communities you served, and investigators would back off. You were their perfect cover. How much money are we talking about? Best estimate. They've stolen or laundered over $2 billion in 5 years. Probably more we haven't uncovered yet. Chikwudi felt sick. His life's work, twisted into this. Who else is involved? How deep does this go? Zainab pulled up an organizational chart she'd assembled from the evidence. 8 people in the core conspiracy. Emeka at the center. Your CFO Adebayo handling the financial side. 3 board members, Adekunle, Chidinma, and Oladapo, who used their positions to approve fraudulent contracts. 2 external facilitators, Detective Obi Nwosu for police protection, and a man named Akin Fall who handles the arms dealing connections. And the others. There's got to be dozens of people who knew something. Mid-level managers who asked the wrong questions got transferred or fired. Lower-level employees just followed orders. The genius of it was compartmentalization. Nobody except the core 8 understood the full scope. She paused. Ngozi only figured it out because she was looking at it from the outside, following the money across multiple systems. A thought struck Chikwudi. My daughter. Adiz. Is she safe? She's in Switzerland. They can't reach her easily. And she doesn't know anything relevant to them. Zainab must have seen his expression because she added, but I've already contacted Interpol through commission channels. They're providing discreet security at her school. She won't even know she's being protected. Thank you. At 3 p.m., Chikwudi's phone rang. A number he didn't recognize. Zainab nodded. Answer it. Speaker phone. Hello. Mr. Okonkwo. A voice he didn't recognize. Male. Calm. Professional. We haven't been formally introduced, but I represent certain parties with interest in your business activities. Who is this? Names don't matter. What matters is that we have your wife and your employee. What matters is that we know you left your penthouse last night with the woman you think is your maid. What matters is that we know you've accessed files you shouldn't have. Chakwidi's hands shook. Zainab mouthed. Keep him talking. What do you want? Simple. Bring us the evidence. All copies. Every file your wife collected. You have until midnight tonight. Come to the Betrayal warehouse. Come alone. Exchange the evidence for your wife and Mr. Jide. How do I know they're alive? Because we're professionals. Dead hostages have no value. A pause. Midnight, Mr. Okonkwo. The evidence for their lives. If you involve police, they die. If you bring backup, they die. If you try to be clever, they die. Your compliance is their only hope. The line went dead. Zainab immediately started working her phone. They confirmed the location. That's good. Means they're confident in their position. It's a trap. They'll kill all of us the moment they have the evidence. Obviously. Which is why we're not doing what they said. She checked her watch. 5 hours until sunset. 3 hours until we move. They're expecting you at midnight, which gives us a 5-hour window to extract the hostages before their trap is set. You can do that. Get in, get them out, and get away without anyone dying. Zainab met his eyes. I've done hostage rescue before. 2 tours in northeast Nigeria fighting Boko Haram before I joined the commission. I've pulled civilians from hot zones under fire. This. She gestured at her equipment. This is what I'm trained for. But you're risking everything. Your career, your life. My career is meaningless if I let innocent people die to protect it. And my life. She smiled slightly. Everyone dies eventually. Might as well make it count. At 5 p.m., they loaded equipment into the van. At 5:30, they left Ikeja, heading east toward Badagry. The sun hung low and red over Lagos, painting the lagoon in shades of blood. Chakwudi watched the city slide past, his city, where he'd built his dreams, and wondered if he'd ever see it again. Tell me about Ngozi, Zainab said as she drove. How'd you meet? University of Lagos. She was studying finance, I was doing computer science. She was the only woman in the investment club who actually knew what she was talking about. All the guys were just there to look impressive. He smiled at the memory. She eviscerated my portfolio analysis in front of everyone. I was humiliated and also weirdly attracted. And you asked her out? I asked her to coffee to discuss investment strategies. She said yes because she felt sorry for me. He laughed. Took me 3 months to work up the courage to actually call it a date. She sounds formidable. She is. That's why I should have known. She's never been just a wife. Always working on something, investigating something. I just thought it was her personality, being curious and thorough. I never imagined that she was protecting you. Yeah. They drove in silence for a while. The city gave way to smaller towns, then rural areas. Palm trees and cassava fields. The road to Badagry. Question, Chakwudi said. Why'd you take this assignment? 3 years undercover as a maid. That's a long time to pretend to be someone else. Zainab was quiet for a moment. My brother worked for a tech company in Port Harcourt. Good kid. Brilliant programmer. His company got involved in something dirty, money laundering, just like yours. My brother found out, threatened to go public. They killed him. Made it look like a robbery gone wrong. Her hands tightened on the wheel. Police did nothing. No investigation. Later I found out the police were paid off. Just like Detective Nwosu. I'm sorry. Don't be. Be angry. Be motivated. Use it. She glanced at him. That's why I do this work. Someone has to stand between the powerful criminals and the innocent people they destroy. Might as well be me. The sun touched the horizon as they approached Badagry. Zainab pulled off onto a dirt road that wound through dense vegetation. A kilometer later, they reached a clearing where 2 vans waited. 4 people in tactical gear emerged. The sergeant from this morning and 3 others. 2 men, 1 woman. Commandant, the sergeant greeted formally. Team assembled as requested. Thank you. Let's brief. They gathered around a tablet showing satellite imagery of the warehouse. It sat at the end of a dirt access road, surrounded by scrub and trees, with the Atlantic Ocean visible a kilometer south. Single structure, approximately 5,000 square meters. Probably divided into multiple rooms. 3 entry points, main door on the north side, service entrance on the west, emergency exit on the south. Zainab pointed to heat signatures on the thermal imaging. 5 hostiles confirmed inside. 2 at the main entrance, 1 roaming patrol, 2 with the hostages. Hostages location? The female operative asked. Southeast corner. Appears to be a converted office space. Windows? 2, both barred. But the bars are old, probably not structurally sound. How do you want to play this? The sergeant asked. Zainab laid out the plan. 2-team entry. Alpha team, her and 2 operatives, would breach the south emergency exit and move to the hostages. Bravo team, the sergeant and 1 operative, would create a distraction at the main entrance. And me? Chikwudi asked. You stay with the vehicles. Watch the live feed from the drone. If this goes wrong, you drive to the nearest police station and hand over everything to the press before they can silence you. I'm not letting you risk your lives while I hide. You're not trained for combat. You'd be a liability. Her tone softened. Besides, someone needs to survive to tell this story. That someone is you. He wanted to argue but knew she was right. Rules of engagement? One of the operatives asked. Non-lethal if possible. These people need to stand trial. But if they threaten the hostages or team members, do what's necessary. Everyone nodded. At 7 p.m., as darkness fell complete, they moved. The night was oppressive, heavy with humidity and the distant sound of ocean waves. Chikwudi sat in the van, watching multiple video feeds from the drone circling high above the warehouse. Through his headset, he heard Zainab's whispered commands as the team moved into position. Alpha team at the south wall. Standing by. Bravo team, north entrance, ready. Drone operator, give me updated thermal. The drone's infrared showed heat signatures shifting inside the building. The 2 guards at the main entrance were smoking, relaxed. The roaming patrol had stopped in what looked like a break room. The 2 with the hostages hadn't moved. We have a window, Zainab whispered. Patrol is distracted. Bravo, initiate diversion on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Suddenly, the night erupted with sound. Bravo team set off flashbang grenades at the north entrance. The 2 guards there immediately scrambled into action, shouting into radios. On the thermal imaging, Chikwudi watched all 3 mobile hostiles converge on the northern disturbance. Alpha, we're clear. Breaching now. Zainab's team moved fast. Chikwudi watched their heat signatures approach the south emergency exit. A brief pause, probably picking the lock, then they were inside. Alpha inside. Moving to hostages. 60 seconds. His heart hammered. 60 seconds that felt like hours. The roaming patrol suddenly broke away from the north side, moving back toward the southeast corner. He'd realized the diversion was a trap. Zainab, you've got one coming your way. Chikwudi warned. Copy. We see him. Through the drone feed, he watched Zainab's team reach a doorway. They paused, preparing to breach. The hostel was 20 meters away. 15. 10. They breached. What happened next occurred in seconds but felt like slow motion. Alpha team burst into the hostage room. Through windows, the drone's night vision captured muzzle flashes. Brief struggle. Then silence. Hostile down. Non-lethal. Hostages secured. Chikwudi nearly collapsed with relief. We have Mrs. Okonkwo and Mr. Jide. Both alive, both mobile. Extraction in progress. Bravo team, status? North entrance secured. 2 hostiles restrained. We're clear. Moving out. Everyone to extraction point Alpha. On screen, Chikwudi watched his wife emerge from the warehouse, supported by Zainab. Even from this distance, even through night vision, he could see she was limping. They made it halfway to the extraction vehicles when everything went wrong. Headlights suddenly blazed from the access road. 3 vehicles, big SUVs, roaring toward them at high speed. Contact. We've got reinforcements, the sergeant shouted. How many? At least 12 hostiles. Heavily armed. Gunfire erupted. The rescue team scattered, taking cover behind the vans. Chikwudi watched in horror as bullets tore through the night. Zainab pushed Ngozi behind a vehicle and returned fire with precision. His wife, his brilliant, brave wife, was right there in a war zone. We need to move, Zainab shouted, fighting withdrawal to backup extraction point. Where's that? Someone yelled back. The beach. 500 meters south. Move. Move. They ran. The team laying down covering fire, the hostiles pursuing relentlessly. Chikwudi abandoned the drone controls and jumped into the driver's seat. Sir, you should. I'm not leaving them. He started the van and drove toward the firefight. Zainab saw him coming and waved frantically. What are you doing? Getting my wife. Get in. The team piled into the van as bullets pinged off the metal. Chikwudi floored it, tires spinning in the sand and dirt. They careened toward the beach, the hostile vehicles in pursuit. The narrow dirt road gave way to open sand. The van skidded and fishtailed. There. Zainab pointed. The water. A boat waited in the shallows, part of their backup plan. They'd arranged naval support from the commission just in case. They abandoned the van and sprinted for the water. The team providing covering fire as Ngozi and Jide were helped into the boat. Chikwudi reached the water when someone grabbed his arm. Ngozi. She pulled him into an embrace, even as bullets zipped past them. You came for me, she sobbed. Always, he gasped. Always. They scrambled into the boat. The engine roared to life. They pulled away from shore just as the hostile vehicles reached the beach. More gunfire. But the darkness and distance made them poor targets. Within minutes, they were beyond range, cutting through the Atlantic swells toward a Nigerian Navy patrol boat waiting offshore. Safe. Finally safe. On the patrol boat, wrapped in blankets, Chikwudi held Ngozi as she trembled. She had bruises on her face, cuts on her wrists from restraints. But she was alive. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry I kept secrets. I thought I was protecting you. I know. I understand now. I understand everything. Zainab approached with medical supplies. We need to check your injuries. While a medic examined Ngozi, Chikwudi pulled Zainab aside. Thank you. For everything. For risking your life. Don't thank me yet. We got them out, but the main conspirators are still free. They'll know by now that we have the hostages. They'll be moving to cover their tracks, destroy evidence, maybe flee the country. Then what do? We take the fight to them. Tomorrow. Before they can vanish. Jide, the IT security chief, approached. His face was battered but his eyes were sharp. Mr. Okonkwo, I need to tell you something. While I was being held, I heard them talking. They're planning something for tomorrow morning. What kind of something? An emergency board meeting at Afritech headquarters. They're going to authorize the immediate sale of the company to a shell corporation they control. Once that goes through, they liquidate everything and disappear. All the criminal evidence disappears with them. Chikwudi looked at Zainab. When's this meeting? 9 a.m. 6 hours from now. Then we have 6 hours to stop them. Zainab smiled grimly. Then I guess we're not sleeping tonight. The Nigerian Navy patrol boat docked at a military pier in Apapa at 2 a.m. They were met by a contingent of EFCC agents in full tactical gear and several men in expensive suits, prosecutors from the Attorney General's office. The evidence from Ngozi's USB drive had been uploaded and distributed to multiple government agencies during the rescue operation. The conspirators couldn't suppress it now, even if they destroyed every physical copy. A severe-looking woman in her 50s approached, Deputy Commissioner Adeola Adeyemi, Zainab's superior at the EFCC. Commandant Musa, she said formally. You've caused quite the international incident. The Navy's not happy you commandeered their resources. The police commissioner is demanding your arrest for interfering with a legitimate investigation. She paused. Which is amusing since Detective Nwosu is currently in a black site awaiting interrogation. He was arrested? Zainab asked. 2 hours ago. Along with 6 other corrupt officers. The deputy commissioner's expression softened slightly. You went off book. Way off book. But you were right. About all of it. The evidence you provided is airtight. What happens now? Chukwudi asked. Now we move fast before they scatter. Arrest warrants have been issued for everyone named in Mrs. Okonkwo's investigation. Teams are moving on their homes as we speak. But some of them are still at large, including your business partner Mr. Odolai. Ngozi spoke up, her voice hoarse. He'll be at the board meeting. He has to be. It's the linchpin of their exit strategy. Then that's where we'll take him. The deputy commissioner turned to Chukwudi. Mr. Okonkwo, I need you to do something very difficult. I need you to go to that board meeting. Act like nothing's wrong. Keep them calm and in place until we can get teams positioned. You want me to walk into a room with people who tried to kill me and my wife? Yes. With full surveillance support and tactical teams standing by. But we need them all together, on record, attempting to finalize this fraudulent sale. It'll strengthen our case in court. Chukwudi looked at Ngozi. She nodded. Do it. End this. I'll be wired, Zainab said. I'll be there as your maid again. And you'll have an entire tactical team 30 seconds away. First sign of danger, we extract you. At 6 a.m., after 3 hours of preparation, Chukwudi stood in front of a mirror in an EFCC safehouse, adjusting his tie. He wore a pin camera in his lapel, a microphone sewn into his collar, and a panic button disguised as a cufflink. Ngozi approached, moving stiffly from her injuries. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. They destroyed everything I built. They hurt you. They would have killed us both. He met her eyes in the mirror. I need to look them in the face when it all comes down. My husband, the warrior. She smiled sadly. I'm sorry I doubted you. Sorry I kept secrets. We both kept secrets. We both thought we were protecting each other. He turned to face her. After this is over, we start fresh. Complete honesty. Even when it's hard. Deal. They kissed, and for a moment, Chukwudi felt like maybe they could survive this. Maybe rebuild. At 8:30 a.m., a police escort drove him to Afritech headquarters. To anyone watching, it looked like normal security. In reality, it was an EFCC extraction team. Zainab, back in her maid outfit, met him in the lobby. To observers, it looked like she was bringing him coffee. In reality, she was confirming communications were operational. Can you hear me? She whispered. Clear, came the response through his nearly invisible earpiece. Positions everyone, Zainab said quietly. Alpha Team, East Stairwell. Bravo Team, West. Command, are you monitoring? Video and audio confirmed, Deputy Commissioner Adeyemi's voice responded. Mr. Okonkwo, you're live. Record everything. Chukwudi rode the elevator to the 15th floor executive conference room. Each floor climbed felt like approaching execution. His hands were steady, but inside, his heart raced. The conference room doors opened. The board of directors was already assembled. 8 people who controlled billions in assets. 8 people, 3 of whom had tried to murder him. Chukwudi. Emeka stood, arms open in false warmth. Brother. We were getting worried. You've been hard to reach. Chukwudi forced a smile and accepted the embrace, feeling sick. Sorry. Family emergency. Ngozi had some health issues. All sorted now. Lies flowing easily. Just like Emeka's lies had for years. Well, we're glad you're here. We have important business to discuss. Emeka gestured to a chair at the head of the table, Chukwidi's usual spot as CEO. Chukwudi sat. Around the table, Adebayo the CFO, looking nervous. 3 board members, Adekunle, Chidinma, and Oladapo, all in on the conspiracy. 4 other board members who were innocent, who had no idea what was about to happen. Let's begin, Emeka said. I'll be direct. Afritech has received an acquisition offer that's too good to refuse. A consortium of international investors willing to pay above market value for immediate purchase. One of the innocent board members, Mrs. Okoro, looked surprised. I wasn't aware we were entertaining offers. It came through private channels, Adebayo said smoothly. Given the premium being offered, we thought it warranted consideration. How much are we talking? Another innocent member asked. $4 billion. Immediate cash transfer. The room buzzed with excitement. Chukwudi played his part, frowning thoughtfully. That's generous. Too generous. Who are these investors? A private equity firm based in Dubai, Emeka said. They see the potential in our African market position. Chukwudi pulled up documents on his tablet, documents the EFCC had prepared. Interesting. Because I did some research. This Dubai firm? It's a shell company. Owned by another shell company. Which ultimately traces back to. He looked up. Several people in this room. The temperature dropped. Emeka's smile faltered. That's absurd. Where did you? My wife. Before you kidnapped her. Chukwudi stood. Before you beat her. Before you tried to sell my company to yourselves and disappear with billions in stolen money. Adebayo lunged for the door. It burst open, EFCC agents in tactical gear poured in. Nobody move. You're all under arrest. Emeka's face twisted with rage. You stupid fool. Do you know what you've done? These people will kill you. Kill your family. These people, Chukwudi said coldly, are going to prison. Within minutes, Emeka, Adebayo, and the 3 corrupt board members were handcuffed. The innocent members sat in shock as agents explained what had been happening in their company. Zainab approached Chukwudi. It's over. We got them all. But Chukwudi wasn't celebrating. He looked around at his company, his life's work, now tainted forever. The arrests made international news within hours. Nigerian tech billionaire exposes corruption ring. Afritech CEO helps bust $2 billion money laundering scheme. The headlines were everywhere. But the celebrations were premature. 2 days after the arrests, Chukwudi received a call from an unknown number. Against his better judgment, he answered. Congratulations, Mr. Okonkwo. The voice was unfamiliar, heavily accented. Eastern European, maybe Russian. You've made quite a mess. Who is this? Someone whose investment you've disrupted. Your friends, Emeka, Adebayo, they were merely intermediaries. They worked for us. And now they're in custody, likely to talk. That's problematic. Chukwudi's blood ran cold. What do you want? Insurance. Your daughter, Adiz, yes? Attends the international school in Geneva. Beautiful campus. Very accessible. If you touch her, relax. We're not barbarians. We simply want you to understand the situation. Emeka and his associates will be convicted. They'll serve time. But their silence is valuable to us. If they testify about their international connections, if they name names." The voice paused. "Well, accidents happen. Even in Swiss schools." The line went dead. Chikwudi immediately called Zainab. They threatened Adiz. Within an hour, they were in Deputy Commissioner Adeyemi's office with Interpol agents conferencing in. "We can increase security at her school," an Interpol agent said. "But Mr. Okonkwo, your daughter needs to come home. Now. She's safer there than here," Ngozi argued, her face pale. "Lagos is where these people operate." "These people operate everywhere," the agent corrected. "But in Switzerland, we can provide better protection. We're arranging a safe house. She'll be moved tonight." Chikwudi felt his world collapsing again. "This never ends, does it?" "It ends when we get the people at the top," Zainab said. "Emeka and the others are talking, cutting deals. They're giving us names, locations, bank accounts. We're building cases against their handlers in Moscow, Dubai, Hong Kong. It takes time." "How much time?" "Months. Maybe a year. A year of my daughter in hiding? My wife and I in protective custody." No one answered. That night, unable to sleep, Chikwudi made a decision. He called a press conference for the next morning. Every major news outlet in Nigeria. International media too. Zainab tried to stop him. "You'll be exposing yourself too." "I'm already exposed. We all are. Hiding won't save us. But publicity might." He set his jaw. "If I'm a public figure, if the world is watching, I'm harder to quietly eliminate." The next morning, he stood before dozens of cameras and told the whole story. Everything. The conspiracy, the evidence, the rescue, the threats. He named names, showed documents, held nothing back. "I'm not a hero," he concluded. "I'm a man who was blind to corruption happening under his nose. But I won't be blind anymore. And I won't be silent. To the people who threatened my family, the world is watching now. Touch us, and you prove everything I've said is true." The press conference went viral. Within hours, #AfriTechTruth was trending globally. And the threats stopped. 3 months later, the trials began. Emeka, Adebayo, Detective Nwosu, and the others sat in Lagos High Court facing dozens of charges. Chikwudi attended every day of testimony, sitting in the gallery with Ngozi beside him. Watching his former best friend try to justify the betrayal was excruciating. On day 12 of the trial, Emeka took the stand. His lawyer had convinced him that cooperation might reduce his sentence. "How long were you planning this?" the prosecutor asked. 5 years, Emeka said quietly. "Maybe longer. I'd always been jealous of Chikwudi. He got the credit, the recognition. I did just as much work but stayed in the shadows." "So you decided to steal from him?" "I decided to take what I'd earned. What I deserved." Emeka's eyes found Chikwudi in the gallery. "You never saw me as an equal. Always the brilliant Chikwudi Okonkwo and his faithful sidekick Emeka. I was tired of being second." Chikwudi felt Ngozi grip his hand. "And Mrs. Okonkwo?" the prosecutor continued. "Why target her? She was getting too close. We had to neutralize the threat." "Neutralize? You mean murder?" "We were going to." Emeka's voice cracked. "We were desperate. We'd come too far to stop." The testimony continued for days. Each revelation more damning than the last. The full scope of the conspiracy emerged. 23 people arrested across 4 countries. Hundreds of millions seized from bank accounts. But the masterminds, the international crime figures who'd financed everything, remained beyond reach. During a court recess, Chikwudi stepped outside for air. A woman approached him, mid-30s, professional attire. "Mr. Okonkwo?" "I'm Sarah Chen," investigative journalist with the Financial Times. I've been following this case. I'd like to discuss something sensitive with you. They found a quiet cafe. Sarah pulled out a folder thick with documents. I've been investigating the Eastern European syndicate that used Afritech. I have sources inside their organization. They're planning something. What kind of something? A last-ditch effort to derail the trials. Intimidation, bribery, possibly violence. She pushed the folder across. My sources say there's going to be an attempt on your life within the week. Chikwudi felt numb. He'd known this might come, but hearing it confirmed. Why are you telling me this? Because this story needs to be told. Because corruption thrives in darkness. Sarah leaned forward. But also because I believe you're one of the good ones. You made mistakes, but you're trying to make them right. People like you shouldn't die in the shadows. He took the folder. What do you need from me? Keep doing what you're doing. Stay public. Stay loud. And when this is over, give me an exclusive interview about everything. The whole story, unfiltered. Deal. That evening, Chikwudi showed the folder to Zainab and the EFCC protection detail. The threat was real and imminent. We need to move you to a secure location, Zainab said. No. I stay visible. I go to court tomorrow like always. We don't give them the satisfaction of making me hide. That's suicide. That's principle. He looked at Ngozi. We've hidden enough. We've been afraid enough. Now we stand. Ngozi nodded. Together. The next morning, security was tripled. Chikwudi walked into the courthouse through a corridor of armed guards and metal detectors. News cameras captured every moment. Nothing happened. The assassins, whoever they were, stayed away. 2 weeks later, the verdicts came down. Emeka, 25 years. Adebayo, 20 years. Detective Nwosu, 15 years. The others received similar sentences. Justice. Finally. 6 months after the trials ended, Chikwudi stood in front of Afritech headquarters. The company still existed, barely. Half the staff had resigned. Stock value had plummeted. Major contracts had been cancelled. But he was rebuilding. New board members, all vetted thoroughly. New executives with no ties to the old regime. New transparency protocols, every transaction public, every account audited monthly by independent firms. It'll take years to restore trust, Ngozi said, standing beside him. She'd officially joined the company as Chief Compliance Officer, using her investigative skills to ensure this never happened again. Then we take years, Chikwudi replied. We build it right this time. Inside, they met with the remaining loyal employees, about 60 people who'd refused to abandon the company despite the scandal. I won't lie to you, Chikwudi told them. The road ahead is hard. We've lost business, reputation, and trust. But we still have our technology, our vision, and each other. If you're willing to stay, to rebuild with me, we can create something better than before. Something honest. The applause was tentative but genuine. After the meeting, Zainab appeared. She'd resigned from the EFCC after the trials, unable to continue in an organization that had harbored people like Detective Nwosu. I'm opening a private security firm, she announced. Corporate protection, investigation services, ethical surveillance. And I want Afritech as my first client. Keeping an eye on us? Chikwudi smiled. Someone has to. That evening, Chikwudi and Ngozi sat on their penthouse balcony, the same penthouse where this nightmare had begun. They'd swept it for surveillance devices 3 times. It was finally just theirs again. Sarah Chen published her article, Ngozi said, reading from her tablet. She's calling you the reluctant whistleblower. Says you're proof that even flawed people can choose integrity. Flawed is generous. Flawed is human. Ngozi set down the tablet. I have news. I wasn't going to tell you until I was sure, but Tell me what. She took his hand and placed it on her stomach. We're pregnant. Chikwudi froze. What? How? When? Apparently, that night after the rescue, we were careless. She smiled nervously. I know this is terrible timing. Everything's chaotic and dangerous and... He kissed her. Deep and genuine. It's perfect timing. A new beginning. For us, for the company, for our family. Tears streamed down her face. I was so scared to tell you. I'm scared too. But we'll figure it out. Together. With complete honesty this time. Complete honesty, she agreed. They sat in silence, watching the Lagos sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. The city sprawled before them, chaotic, beautiful, corrupt, hopeful, just like life. Chikwudi thought about Emeka, rotting in prison. About the lives destroyed by greed. About the thin line between success and corruption. But he also thought about Zainab's bravery. About Ngozi's determination. About the employees who'd stayed loyal. About a baby on the way, a symbol of hope after so much darkness. What are you thinking? Ngozi asked. That I almost lost everything that matters. My wife, my integrity, my life. He squeezed her hand. And that I'm incredibly lucky to get a second chance. We both are. Below them, Lagos hummed with life. Somewhere in the city, criminals plotted. But also, honest people worked. Families loved. Children dreamed. The battle between corruption and integrity never ended. But tonight, integrity had won. And tomorrow, they'd wake up and fight to keep it that way. The END, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I dropped another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survive? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever?